Okay, cool. So you should be able to see this is our Flickr account, and this is where we upload all the on the tables pictures, and this is where I've been stashing stuff as people have been sending it to me today. So I'm going to start the slideshow here, but I'll go through it manually. And I guess first up, I guess we got Will Alcott. Will, maybe see if I don't think I can find you to unmute you myself. There we go. There's Will. Okay, cool.
Can you
So
hear me now?
I can.
All right. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so this is the Flyhawk 1/72 scale Renault FT, which is a really, really beautiful little kit that absolutely falls together. Really, really well engineered. For some reason, I decided to add some interior to it, so it's kind of dragged on for a little bit, and I added the tarp and chains to it, but it's mostly done painting now. I'm still waiting on some custom decals to finish this one off.
Oh,
nice. Hey, Will, where did you get that one from? Because I've looked for the Flyhawk kit and it's hard to come by.
Yeah, I bought this in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
And I have one. They come in a kit with two, so I do have one still available.
Nice.
But someone actually at our meeting a couple months ago, someone had a box of these that they were selling. So, but I guess most people seem to buy them online direct from China.
Fair enough. Shall we move on to the next one?
Sure.
It's a bunch of resin parts.
It is. This is a little experiment. So about a month ago, I got a 3D printer and I decided to try printing a whole model. So this is a Talos missile, which is a US Navy surface-to-air missile, first long-range surface-to-air missile used by the US Navy, used operationally in Vietnam, shot down a few MiGs. So these are the parts basically as they came out of the printer. I haven't done any cleanup or anything on them. But they're the quality of basically, so my printer is called an Elegoo Mars. It costs about $350. And the quality that you get out of it is pretty phenomenal. You need to do a little bit of cleanup on some of the parts, but if you go on to the next slide.
Getting there. There we go.
Right, so the one on the right is the Talos, so that's what I built with using the parts from the 3D printer. So a little bit of cleanup, so hit everything with Mr. Surfacer, then sanded it all smooth, and then primer and just testers flat white compared to in the background is an SA2 guideline, which is a Planet Models resin kit there.
Very cool.
That's really cool. I thought 3D printers were still very, very expensive. $350 and you're getting good quality out of it. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, so there's a whole new generation of these that came out in the last year or so. They're LCD based, so they basically expose a layer at a time of an image, but they have very good resolution. So depending on what you're making and how you orient the parts with respect to the printer, you can come up with great stuff. Now, I mean, the part that you don't see is what's involved in actually building the CAD model to put this together. Missiles are pretty easy. Trying to make like a real airplane would be significantly more difficult. But things that are simple bodies of revolution or extrusion, things like that are pretty easy to put together. So I've done a bunch of stuff, mostly parts for my armor, small scale armor stuff. But this was a little experiment to do something, basically put a complete model together.
One other question there, Will. Did you have to download a pattern for it and all that?
So no, I created the CAD model myself. So I found some drawings online that gave me the dimensions, and I created my own CAD model and then convert that to the STL file that the printer software. You do have to get a CAD model from somewhere.
Yeah.
Sandy can do it for you. He's a brilliant CATIA designer. So you just got to get him a CATIA license.
Nice.
Yeah, Eric, Sandy did, I think, have a question. So I think if you can unmute him.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
All right.
There, Sandy, you're live. What's up? Sandy?
I don't know that he can hear anyone.
Oh, maybe not. Oh, I can see his lips moving. But
Yeah, we can't hear him, and
We had this problem. We had this problem on Sunday with him. He was like, it's something to do with. He was fine on his laptop, but his iPad, even though he could get video, he wasn't able to get any sound or anything like that. I'm not too sure why.
Oh, there, Harvey Lowe has raised his hand. He wants to speak. So. Hey, Harvey.
Hey guys, by the way, if you want to ask questions, there's those three dots in the corner of your screen, whatever device you're using, that says more. You can click on that and raise your hand if you want to ask a question. I just want to. It looks great, Will. I just want to mention you guys that there's a lot of vendors now selling these patterns on the internet. I found a guy in Italy has got a 3D. I guess it's the stuff you need, Will, for the drawings. Like it's a 1/72 Italian World War II submarine. The guy's asking $150, but it's not the model. It's the plans to do the 3D modeling, and I'm seeing a lot more of that stuff. Just FYI.
That's kind of cool then, because yeah, Harv. That's kind of cool, because then what you could end up doing is printing more than one copy, for example, because you'll have the pattern.
Right.
Yeah,
but you got to be careful, because sometimes you think you're buying the model, but you're not. You're buying the plans to do the 3D model.
and the other thing is what you're actually getting is the STL file, which the printer can use, but you can't modify that. So if there's something wrong with it, if whatever, it's no good to you. It's not geometry that you can modify in a CAD package. It's just the data that the printer is going to need from it. So.
Interesting point. Well, that's very cool.
Anyways, hopefully someday when we go back to physical meetings, we can do a bit of a seminar on this stuff.
That'd be pretty cool. They could bring it in and show us. All right, shall I move on?
Yep.
All right, next is, this is mine. I finished my Spitfire on a stick. I actually took it off the stick eventually, and this is it. This is the Edward 148 scale. This is a Mark 9C, done with far too tidy invasion stripes, but I couldn't bring myself to paint them the way they actually looked because I just didn't want to do it that sloppy. So yeah, these are all with the Tamiya paints and Mr. Leveling Thinner, which is obviously, as Harvey and I were saying, it's kind of our new favorite painting technique right now. But yeah, it turned out honestly, I'm not usually a prop guy, but this was one of the most fun I've had building a model in probably the past 10 years. It fell together perfectly. It probably helped that it is a prop and I didn't necessarily care about it as much, but I trusted the accuracy of the kit and I didn't fool around with trying to fix anything about it. So it's purely out of the box. It comes with photo etch. It comes with the masking for all the canopies and everything like that for all the clear parts. And yeah, it was just it was a lot of fun. So highly recommended to anybody who wants to do a 148 scale spit.
Eric, I saw David ask a question about, did you use Tamiya lacquers?
No, it's the Tamiya acrylics, but thinned with the Mr. Leveling Thinner.
Yeah, the best formula now.
Yeah, they're totally compatible. That's
beautiful. Eric, how did you like the black primer? Did you like using it as opposed to white?
Yeah, it's probably this is, I think, the third model I've done that particular technique with. So yeah, no, I really like that. The primer is really good. You just put it on high pressure over everything. It's that the Badger styrene stuff, and it covers really well. And then the black base coat, and then build up on top of that. I find that you can get better color modulation and kind of depth and a little bit more character out of it, I find, than going with a white or a gray. So
I just saw a question from Chris about the Tamiya. I think he's asking what Tamiya thinner you used, Eric.
Oh, the thinner? It's not Tamiya. Hold on. There it is. It's this product. Well, I don't know if you can see my screen, but it's the Mr. Leveling Thinner made by the Mr. Color. So buy it at, there, yeah. David's got his own bottle. Don't drink it. Highly toxic, but it's one, get it at
I've never
Panda Hobbies is where I got mine.
Oh, what kit is that? What kit is your spit?
I've never used it with the acrylics.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Oh, it's beautiful with the acrylics.
Yep, probably about 30%
Okay.
paint, 50% thinner. You think you can thin it way down so it comes out really smooth, and yeah, it works beautifully. I didn't have to sand between coats on this at all. It was just all just straight coats.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that is the, again, yeah, I said at the beginning, it's the Edward 148 scale Mark 9C. Specifically that of boxing, they call it the longest day boxing. It was specifically the one with the invasion markings. And for Robert,
Yeah, I see Atrial has a question about. Sorry, I see Atrial has a question that says just black primer base or black basing technique.
both.
I guess it's both. Okay.
I use a black primer so that I can kind of skip a step. I don't have to paint it black.
Yeah.
Next up, oh, this is my next build. I didn't know how many people we'd have send in pictures, so I thought I'd throw in what I'm working on next. Anybody care to guess what it is?
It's some sort of Russian aircraft.
Yeah.
Good call.
Mm.
It's a jet.
Sukhoi?
No.
Okay.
It's a MiG-17. So you were right, Bill.
Cool.
You could guess.
Okay, it's a MiG. Okay.
Early Russian jet. So yeah, that's the Hobby Boss kit. Well, this is the Ares pit for the Hobby Boss kit. So yeah, since I'm working at home, I'm sitting right at my workbench while I do my job. So, you know, I kind of do a bit of work, glue something together, do a little bit of work, back and forth. Can't complain.
48 scale, Eric?
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
48. Gates, I don't think has been able to join us tonight, has he?
Oh.
I don't think I saw Gates. This is probably I'm assuming because of what he's been doing, this is probably part of that diorama.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, David. By the way, guys, David said we got 21 guys on, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well,
All right.
we can look at stuff.
Yeah, we can look at his stuff. So this was Gates. Yeah, typical stuff for him. Let's see. He did this little.
Hey, cool.
Oh, this
Holy
is nice.
cow.
Whoa,
Hey, go back.
Sorry, that's not me. My internet connection is
Oh,
crap on me here.
Nice.
It's not loading.
maybe it's just
Okay,
slow.
slowly.
Oh,
Start
slowly. There we
loading.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, this is like back in the 90s. Yeah, this is definitely part of his diorama.
Yeah.
Let me see. He's done a few here. Let's see. The others are better. That's the side shot.
Nice.
There you go. Oh, nice close up there.
Nice.
Very much is. And then, I guess this must be the various kits and accessory sets that he
Wow.
used. He did that.
So I guess it's those look like those what is it called, mini art. Those are mini art kits.
Yeah, I think they're mini art.
Right.
Like 35th scale. So
All right, next up is Harvey.
Oh, okay, so I'll take you through a couple of the. Now, you guys have probably seen on the web. I've been posting some pictures of my my very first 148th aircraft. I've never done a 48th aircraft, so the size is rather huge for me. I keep bumping the damn thing into my magnifying glass, but it's a 148th resin limited run kit of the Italian Cont Z1007 bomber, that wooden bomber from World War II. I got it at Harwood about maybe 5-6 years ago. It was half built off a guy who said it was rare, and I got it for $60. It's apparently worth a lot more. I'm kind of regretting doing it because this thing fought me all the way. This is an example of what I had to do, and if you guys ever get into limited run resin, The wing diameter is not on these, especially on this kit. And I had to put spacers to elevate the wing to the right thickness so that it would match the wing fillet on the fuselage. Next slide.
Working on it. There you go.
This is an example of how bad the fit of this model is, and you really want to only build one of these if you're sure that no mainstream company's going to release it in injection, and that you really want it. This thing is taken about 8 months. It's actually done, and I've just been posting in progress shots on the web, kind of like faking it along, but it's actually done. You guys will see pictures of it finished in a moment. But that bottom fuselage crack, that's actually, everything's basically cemented together. That's the extent of the gap that I got to fill. And I had to use automotive putty and everything. And it's just a horrible kit, but it's such a unique aircraft. Next slide. This is an example of the intricate camouflage. Now, it really looks gaudy. I used the paint mix is off an Italian site because I'm not an Italian World War II aircraft buff. I'm more Japanese. But if you're going to be doing these things, kind of like armor weathering, if you're going to weather them, start off very gaudy, because by the time you put filters and washes on, you'll bring it back down to what it's supposed to be. And it's a bit of the art form of the hobby, but you start off with much more vibrant colors, with the hopes that once you apply some filters and washes, it'll bring it down. This is an example of the camouflage of these aircraft. I don't know the actual name of the camo scheme, but it's a three-tone scheme where the first base scheme is sand, then followed by red-brown splotches, and then a very complex network of green camouflage paint. And I'll be doing an article in a magazine, so I'll give you the details of the colors I used. So next slide. This is an example of what it looks like now with the scheme toned down. And my thanks to Vince. I know you're on the call. That little squadron emblem down on the fuselage there, I sent a scanned image to that Vince helped me get, and I sent it to John Wong, and he's got one of those printers, one of those decal printers. I think they're called an AMPS printer, and he converted the scanned image into a vector file, and we scaled it down to 1/48. It's basically the squadron emblem of the 172nd. I probably got the pronunciation wrong, Vince. Squadriglia at the Battle of Britain. This is a comp bomber that served as a decoy bomber with no armament to draw the British fighters away from the Italian bombers as they bombed Harwich, I believe. The John Wong, Vince then did for your silhouette printer, made the unit markings 172.5, and this is the finished model with the camouflage finely toned down, bit of weathering on the wings. I finally got it to where it is now, and I'm pretty happy with it now, but I don't think I'll ever, if I even come across one of these rare birds, I'm going to pass it because I don't think I want to go through this hell again. Next slide.
I think, that was all you had, Harvey.
Oh, okay. Keep going. I think there's some other stuff. Oh, did you get my Millennium Falcon stuff or no?
Oh yeah, that'll come later. Yeah,
Okay.
It's kind of in here in the I got it.
All right. Who's up next?
Oh man, this is the Steve Falls show here for next little while. He sent us a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna unmute.
All right, Steve, you're on.
Okay, guys. Hi. Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so this kit is the Tamiya Achilles kit. It's an out of the box, and just from working at home, I'm a musician and I teach on the road as well as in home, and a lot of that has been changed obviously now. So now it's exclusively at home, and so I finished this kit, and I basically it's pretty much out of the box. That you can't see with some of the photographs. I think I put some photo etch on for some of the straps. I don't remember what company, and I just wanted to do something out of the box, and I think the Tamiya kits now, I'm more of a diorama guy. You can, and I'm not very good at taking photos, I apologize for that, but I think they're at a point now where you can pretty much do something almost out of the box with the kit figures. And I really wanted to try something where I could actually just paint it as is with what's there. And that's, so this is everything that comes in the kit. And that's basically it. It's all done with, yeah.
The figures come in the kit, Steve?
Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah,
Wow.
these are all, everything that's on this kit is included in the box. And I added some mini art stuff, just for extra stowage, and that's basically about it. I didn't do a lot of research. A little bit, but I mean enough to find out what strap blocks go where, and British tanks are really my thing. But as far as knowledge goes, but again, it was a really fun build, and went together like the way to make it should.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some of the mini art stuff in the back there.
One.
Yeah, this is, I didn't know if you guys needed content or not, but I thought it was kind of fun that I actually got this article from my friend Barry in Salt Lake. He said, oh, you're in fine scale for March. And this was from our Chicago show. And I brought this tank to one of our meetings a while back. And that's the tank on the bottom there. That's the little Panther there. There's a 1/35th scale Panther kit.
Yeah, I saw that at the meeting, Steve. Yeah, I don't think I've seen the fine scale because we haven't been doing any spores.
Well, this is just it. I mean, you know what I mean? And I didn't even know. He goes, look, like the Chicago stuff's out. And I said, that's cool. We talked to each other on Facebook. And of course, I'm like, that'd be cool to get. And the truth be known, whenever I mean, I've been in a couple of these things. It's always an honor, right? But when I get a couple of magazines here and there, I'll get one for myself, and I'll send one to my mom in Nova Scotia. She likes this sort of stuff. And my mom with her acrylic pens, that's where all my art that was always my inspiration, along with playing guitar. And so by the time I got around to saying maybe I should get out and get a couple of copies of this magazine, we had this stuff that we're dealing with now. So I don't think I'll be able to, unless I order it or something. That's just the magazine article. I think it's March or whatever. So that's what that is. And we just keep moving along.
Yeah.
I don't know if I gave anything else. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is the latest little mini diorama that I'm working on. Again, a Tamiya kit out of the box. I haven't started the weathering process, but the base coats are finished. And the modulation's finished. It's just a little tiny base. The figures are 1/35th scale Tamiya mid-war. Again, out of the box completely. They've made the Tamiya. They've really come up a level. They've made the Tamiya kit figures packs now to the point where the heads are well detailed. The straps are all molded plastic. They even got decals for some of the uniform insignia. So this is just a mock-up, so to speak. And I think the tank commander is Alpine. Yeah, I think that's one more shot, and I think that's it. And again, this is a small, tight little vignette style diorama.
Oh yeah, here we are. Last one.
And the base coats on the figures, these are life color.
Very nice.
My first time using life color.
Oh, another. Hold on.
You like the life color, Steve?
You know, I do, Harv. It's a good question. I still like the AK stuff. But you know, this stuff, I bought a paint shaker, and it made all the difference using life color, and I find that makes a big difference. It's that stuff is really thick, and you really have to get it mixed well. So I'm using that for base coats. What I'll probably do is go base coats with that granulated highlights, and then eventually go back in with oils and redo the whole thing. So that's it.
Did we just lose Eric?
I don't know.
Right.
I think we might have lost Eric. So.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Okay,
There
he's
he is.
starting to load up. Oh, there we go. There's someone.
this is mine again. It's Hardy. I'm not a sci-fi guy, but I do like it. I built this on a commission for a customer, and it's the 1/72nd Bandai. I know Matt, you're probably listening in. It's the Bandai some sort of special edition 1/72nd Millennium Falcon. It's the lighted one with lights, and the guy wanted me to do it a certain way, and this is the way he wanted it. And if you go on YouTube and type in Garage Studio Modelers, Robert has done a terrific job showcasing this and a bunch of other products that Sandy, Dave, and I have been on Garage Studio Modeler, and this is one of them. Next slide. It's basic techniques using oil washes, filters, the whole 9 yards. I don't honestly know if it's the right colors, but if the client's paying me and that's what he wants, that's what he's getting. This is just the weathering and the afterburners or whatever you call them. And I use Tamiya smoke. I love Tamiya smoke. You guys should try it for post shading. It works great on multicam aircraft. Just add a little bit of dark brown or black to the Tamiya smoke. I think it's X19. And make it thin and start spraying, and it really gives a nice effect. Next slide.
Take a look at some of the work. Take a look.
This one took a while too to do, and the guy wanted me to do it quicker, but I figured, well, I might as well enter in a couple of shows. Just some details of this thing's got a lot of moving parts on it. You can display it in flight mode with landing gear. The guns move and rotate. You can just, those red areas are decals. They actually do work. And they came all bashed up like that. It's not hairspray technique. So it's a nice model. If you like large models, this thing occupied my whole desk because I'm used to 72nd stuff. Next slide. I'll post some of these as well on my Facebook. I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
I think
Does John want to unmute John? Okay, John, you're live.
Oh,
Can you
nice.
tell
Yeah,
us about this?
Yes.
on
Yeah.
Facebook, John.
Perfect. First of all, thank you guys for organizing this. I think it's great. Hopefully the bandwidth will let us all see things without having it too choppy. I didn't know if you were around, Harvey, or whether you deployed out to Borden or not. So
Not yet.
if you have to go, stay safe, okay?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, this is a Hasegawa Fuji T180. It's the old kit they issued back in around 1960 something or other.
Holy crap.
And it's not a bad little kit. I got the really old edition of it. And as uncommon as it is, when they repopped it back around in the mid-70s, they upgraded the cockpit detail. But I didn't get that version, so I was on my own to do something. It was just supposed to be a quick little build for a trainer for the aero buffs. Whoops. Are we swapping pictures there, or yeah, they're all the same. They're all finished model pictures anyway.
John, are those the kit original decals?
No. All the markings are painted except for the numbers, the ejection markings, the ejection arrows, and the serial numbers. And
That's
I
beautiful.
said, well, there's no way I can make decals sit down on those compound curves. I'm going to paint them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I went and bought every shade of red I could of red lacquer from Wheels and Wings, and just picked the ones that kind of looked right, and on it went a lot of masking tape.
Beautiful.
I rescribed the model. I don't like putting a brown wash on a gloss white finish. It's just too stark, I think, but I don't have a better way to do it just yet, so I got to think through that one on future projects. So it's just it's gloss white camouflage, as Dave Bailey will call it. Like the Hinomarus are a pretty vibrant red. The red bands, the flashes on the airframe, it's a brighter shade of red than the Hinomarus, and the orange wingtips and fin tips are actually supposed to be day glow, but it wasn't apparent on all the photos I saw, so I just used an orange, and it looks close enough. So apart from that, I added some details here and there, lights, speed brake bay, which you can't see in these photos, and just something in the cockpit to busy up, and that's it. And just a quick build that diverted me from the ferry battle. But if you don't like 48 scale kits, Harvey, I think I know
nice.
somebody's got
None of
48
your
F-16s for you from Tamiya.
That's a nice kit. It's a pretty looking aircraft too.
Yeah, it's got inspiration from the Sabre. It's a lighter airplane and a little less power than the Sabre, but it was never meant to be a fighter. It was a jet trainer. So, and it was their first indigenous post-war jet design.
Beautiful, John.
Thanks.
Yeah, nice, really nice.
Nice.
Facebook feed than I thought. I share a lot of crap on Facebook, don't I?
Yeah, you do. It's great, David. It's great. Keep it up.
Let me see if I can find my post. I'm getting close. I think I'm getting close. So, yeah, I'm here to represent IPMS London tonight, guys. So
great.
You see, this is the kind of thing I thought was really kind of cool about this, was that we're able to reach out beyond just Toronto now, right?
Well, what's neat about this is I've got a bunch of like I go to sci-fi conventions every year and stuff. So I go to one called Wonderfest down in Kentucky, and there's a bunch of people there. And there's a big model group in Colorado. They call themselves the Commies. It's the Colorado Modelers. Well, I don't know what the whole thing stands for, but they've been having meetings on Sunday afternoons. So we had like 22 guys on yesterday, all down there, and they're from a bunch of guys from Colorado, a few guys from around the area, a guy from California. We had a Star Trek designer on there. It was kind of fun. So so this is sort of old hat for me. I've been doing Skype meetings with design teams in Colorado and California and stuff for like 15 years. So back when Skype was actually better. So this is kind of old hat for me. So I got a few photos here. Let's see, I'll share this one. Is everybody seeing that?
Oh, cool, nice.
Okay, so this is the Revell Germany. This is the Ford GT LeMans from 2017. I don't normally build cars. This is a new thing for me. So, I saw Ford versus Ferrari, and it sort of rekindled my love for racing. So I decided to go grab this kit and build it. It's Revell Germany. It's a little bit of a dog. There's lots of flash on it and stuff like that, and quite a bit of cleanup on the body to get it looking good. But
that finish is beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
I've never done a finish like this. So, of course, being stuck at home here for a few weeks, I've been watching a ton of YouTube videos on guys building these things and, doing different car models and using all the finishing stuff. So I ended up buying the entire Tamiya polishing set of compounds. They got like a coarse and a fine and a finish, and they got a modeling wax as well. So I thought I'd give it a shot. And when I was down at Panda Hobbies there during the Guelph show, I was there for a bit. Then we took off and went down to Toronto. A bunch of us went to Panda Hobbies and Wheels and Wings. And I picked up these sanding sponges by, they're called the God Hand sanding sponges. These little rectangles of sanding stuff. I've got the micro mesh and all that stuff too, but I tried using the sanding sponges on this. And it worked really good for taking the finish and knocking down sort of the high points. And then I hit it with the Tamiya finishing compound. And I was really amazed at actually how easy it was to get a finish this good. The whole model is painted with Tamiya, the Tamiya, what did I use? The Clear's Tamiya lacquer. The white and the blue and the red are by a company called Zero Paints. And I got those from a guy out in Alberta. He carries these things. So these are like, the Ford colors that they use in the actual race car. The Zero Paints, I think it's actual automotive colors that the guy re-bottles in tiny little bottles and charges a fortune for. But it's an easy way to get them. And there's enough paint in one of those jars to probably paint 5 or 6 models easily. I barely used like a sixth of a bottle to paint this thing. So it was kind of tricky, but the body comes in, this whole red top section here is one separate piece. And then the front section with the blue and the white is a separate piece. So it made painting actually fairly easy. I could get up underneath these scoops here and stuff, and I could polish everything out separate and then kind of stick it together at the end. For the windshield, the green stuff on the windshield, they give you a decal for this one, but the top of the mirrors have to match. There was 4 cars. There was 66, 67, 68, and 69. and car number 68 is the one that actually won the LeMans in 2017. So, but I like the number 66. I like double numbers, so I went with that one. So I couldn't match the green, so I used the Tamiya. It's a Tamiya X15, which is pretty close. So I matched this and painted it and did the top of the mirrors the same way. So there were supposed to be decals for these front scoops on here, but they of course didn't fit. I didn't realize that until after a bunch of other decals were on. So I finished doing the whole model, and then I gave it like 6 coats of clear. Then I came back and I masked these areas separately, and I painted them white. I had to prime them white and then paint them white, so it was a little bit terrifying, but I managed not to tear any decals off under the clear coat, so I got lucky. And then I polished it all up. So, I mean, it's a beautiful car. I love this, and I have the Tamiya kit of the street version of this car. So, ironically, this car has a 6-cylinder engine and is limited to, I think, 400 horsepower. The street one that you buy is tuned up to over 700 horsepower. Mm. So they put a big, they put twin turbos on it, and it's just insane. So it was a fun model. It was my first race car I've ever done. So I'm sort of hooked now. I've been watching all kinds of race movies. I watched LeMans over the weekend, and you know, I was born in '71, and the movie came out in '71, so that was kind of fun. So, anyways,
just David, a question: the gloss is that Tamiya gloss that you used, and then you buffed it, David?
Yeah, that's the new Tamiya lacquer LP9.
Oh yeah, nice.
I thinned that with the Mr. Color Leveling thinner as well. I love that stuff. So I thinned it down about probably 60% thinner, and you know, the first 2 or 3 coats where it looked a little bit rough, and I had about 5 minutes between coats, and then the last couple of coats got wetter and wetter until the final coat was like, you know, sort of terrifyingly wet, where you get it to a point where it might run, but it might not. So it's getting a really good wet coat on a model like this is terrifying, but I managed to not get any runs, and then I just left it for 5 days, and I came back and started the polishing process, and it just came up gorgeous. The Tamiya lacquer is amazing.
That looks great. That looks great, David.
We got wheels and wings here in London. I'm in Sarnia now, so about an hour away I can go and I can buy the Tamiya lacquers off the shelf. So I was lucky to stock up before everybody got stuck in home and the shops closed down. So
yeah, but by the way, I forgot to mention when you were talking, David, the Italian bomber I applied as a final coat just the leveling thinner on its own, and that just kind of levels everything out. Don't even mix any paint in there, and you just apply that as a final coat, and it's kind of like similar to what you did to that car. It's just beautiful.
That's crazy. I've never done just pure thinner out of the airbrush. So just
pure thinner as your final coat.
That sounds completely insane, but I'll have to try it time. So
we got a couple.
Guys, everybody coming on.
Thanks,
so
guys.
We'll see you guys.
Have a good night, guys. Everybody stay safe.
Ciao.
Stay
Take
safe.
care.
Bye.